Hi Cancer, welcome to August. We've done a little bit of August in your last video, and now we're going to go a bit into September. So, I just saw something on TikTok where someone wrote, "My therapist defined my childhood trauma as me wanting the people who had hurt me to be nicer to me instead of leaving them where they are." Mid-August to mid-September, you're very comfortable leaving people where they are because it feels really good to have picked yourself up. It feels good to be the voice of truth. It feels good to watch the dust settle and know that even though you perhaps have kicked up a bit of a storm, excuse me, you did it for the right reasons, and at least now everybody knows what's what. Whether you were telling your own truths or you were spilling the beans about somebody else and what they have going on, you feel justified in what you've done. Now, for the first few days of the month, we had Venus in Leo. Venus is now transiting into Virgo, and we have the Mercury retrograde beginning. Your thoughts, your desires, it can call people to you, especially if you spend some time not just outdoors, but in social settings. If there is somebody that you just can't seem to stop thinking about, someone that you feel that you messed up with, and you've been thinking about them a lot these past couple of weeks, it's possible in August for you to pull them towards you. So just keep that in mind when you're doing all this reminiscing. Along with this reminiscing is a bit of a truthful jolt to you as well about how it's been. For some of us, that judgment card is very loud. We see ourselves as we've never been able to before. There is a scope and a perspective that we have now about ourselves that we've never had before. And it's funny and terrifying, but most of all, it's just empowering. Not just. It's, I suppose, what we've been looking for a long time. Just the strength to not need. Because it's true. People are right when they say that we can be really needy, but it's not for the reasons they think. It's not because we're weak or empty or we just need somebody. It's usually because the pain is a little too much to carry. So we decide early that if we help people and mother them, maybe they will hold our hand through our traumas. And then we get attached. And people in turn become attached right back. So if there is somebody that you had this sort of, let's call it cyclicity with, where just like your relationship, your thoughts about them, the relationship itself, back when it happened, there was something so cyclical about the whole thing. Whether it was like you guys would fight every few days, or whether you broke up and got back together on like almost like a schedule. You have, this person is enamored by you, but they've also been pulled into a sort of schedule with you. And no matter how long that orbit was, or how far that orbit took you from each other, it's very possible, especially if they have Virgo placements for that Mercury retrograde in Virgo to bring them back around, or if you have Virgo placements. Okay, so there's that. Now, like I said in last month's reading, the enthusiasm about relationships in general is still really low. It's a contemplative time, and it's also a time of real heat. And I don't think that Cancers like to engage in real sexual heat with people they don't know. We're a little too demented for that. We like to torture people we already have a history with. All right. Ace of Wands. It's one thing to reminisce. It's another thing to see yourself from a broader perspective. It's yet another thing to try to reignite the flames of something that you can't quite let go of. And it's yet another thing to be so consumed with all of that that you don't see what's right in front of you and almost miss a gigantic opportunity. This opportunity, it won't even see you. You won't come up on this person's radar or this opportunity's radar unless you are all the way on top of your game. If you're leaving the house and you're going out and you don't feel like this, you're doing it wrong. August, September, October, you're doing it wrong. For the fall, you are your dream girl, your dream guy, your dream person. Okay? You have become, through isolation, effort, just that Judgment card, being really real, like just so real with yourself about who you've been in relationships, who you've been to your friends, who you've been with yourself, who your parents raised you to be, who your parents are in your life, what they wanted from you. I mean, let's not even get into the parentified child. Okay? We'll do that in the self-esteem course, promise. Whatever your reasons, the world does not care, but the world wants to offer you some really glitzy opportunities because it sees the realization of your potential here and there. But that needs to be cemented. You can't just be a baddie and on your game that one day a week. I'm sorry. We need to make this a 7-day-a-week kind of thing. You need to be able to do this job from home. Okay? That's from Fight Club. I don't even need to come into the office for this. I can do this job from home. Okay. Now, as you're evaluating these past experiences, bottom of the deck, as you're evaluating these past experiences, you will have moments of emotional comfort and moments of great emotional agitation. There are things you were so right about back then and you just didn't know. And now you contemplate and you're like, I'm never making that mistake again. And there are things that make you so uncomfortable and cringe now that you think back, because what exactly were you doing? What were we doing? So embarrassing. I can't. What were we doing? Excuse me. So, if you're not keen on doing anything new and you're really just trying to make some sense from this new perspective and place of empowerment, looking back, trying to make sense, if someone right now is super keen to date you or be around you, what are they offering you? What are they doing for you? If this is I just think you're super hot, please make that enough because you should feel affirmed by how hot I think you are, we're not doing that anymore. We don't do that anymore. We know now that we possess a hotness that is, it traverses barriers. It doesn't care about time and space. It doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't matter how young we are. Well, it definitely matters how young we are, but it doesn't matter how inexperienced we are. We exude the same extremo sexuality no matter, post adulthood, no matter what stage we're in. We have the gravitas of that ocean mother energy, right? So we've come into that. We've completely accepted this. We've spent part of this summer really just letting ourselves bathe in this gorgeous light, okay? Like, just, we have glowed up extreme. Everybody knows this. So now, for us to be approached by people who want to be around us, which is just another word for taking our energy and being leeches, use our mind, use our body, use our capacity for emotions. And what are we getting back in return for even gracing these people with our presence, with our just immense shine right now, mashallah? What do we get? Oh, you're so hot. You're so pretty. You're so sexy. That one makes me itch a little bit. Okay. So, we know that already. We're at that stage now as Cancerians where someone says, wow, you're beautiful. And you go, oh my God, I know. Thank you. And they look at you like they hate you. Because who the fuck says that? And what is wrong with you? And can't you just take a compliment? No, I did just take a compliment. I just said thank you. But you said I know. And that's the part that bothers you. Why does it bother you? It's okay for you to know it, but it's not okay for us to know it, because if we know it, then it's a source of power. And we have realized over the past few months that power has always been the name of this game. You may have called it love. You may have called it affection. You may have called it soft life. You may have called it being a wife. You may have called it being a husband, being a provider. You may have called it being a boyfriend, girlfriend, other. But all it was about the entire time was this intense power dynamic where we were holding immense power and didn't know it at all, and everybody was just siphoning it off as they would, right? We talked about this last month. Okay, cool. So now, some of these people, they don't even know what happened. They're not up to date. So they've come around, they're late. They're like, oh, are we still doing the whole like leeching off? No? Oh, sorry. And some people have no prior experience. They've just come along and thought, oh, this seems like someone who will need the type of affirmation that I give out in exchange for very valuable energy, time, what have you. And when they come across you and they pull this shit with you and you're just like, thanks, I know. And you completely remove all power from their affirmation and from that dynamic, and they feel you pull your power back and kind of seal it away from them and from their tentacles, you will slowly, as you go through this process, all of August, all of September, you will begin to, you will begin to really see how people have been getting over on you for so long. You will begin to see exactly what people are willing to sacrifice for you, which they never would have done before. You will be able to pick up on effort being made that was never being made before, because you have finally stopped looking outside of your shell for meaning. You are okay with being beautiful, loved, alone, together, whatever, in the context of your own shell. You are no longer asking someone to take up residence with you in that shell. You are no longer looking outside that shell, ducking out and going, hey, does anyone like the outside of my shell? You still like it? You still like it? Do you still love me? None of that is happening. Okay, I didn't realize that the reason Sally Field, I don't even know if she's a Cancer, but I didn't realize that the reason Sally Field gave that speech, I have like eyeliner in my eye and it's driving me crazy. I didn't realize that she gave that speech about like, you like me, you really like me. If you haven't seen it, search it. You like me, you really like me. It's like her Oscar speech or something. I didn't, because I remember seeing that and just being like, what's up with this lady? Like, this lady needs some self-esteem. Then to find out that the movie that she got really big in is something about like truckers or something, they didn't want her for it. The director didn't think that she was pretty enough, and the guy who was in the movie had to fight for her. you know? So she had this like previous thing. She had this wounding that she was trying to, you know, get away from. She had this wounding that she was trying to heal from. And so any affirmation that she got of any kind, she was like, okay, perfect. Like, you guys like me. You actually like, this is what we've been suffering from. We've been told, you know, on set already, forgive all the theatrical analogies here, but we've been told on set already that the director hates us, and then we end up winning an Oscar for the role, and we're like, oh, all that was bullshit. We're actually dope. Okay, yeah, cool. Good then. Okay, we got that. Now, if you come around, once this has happened and once we won the Oscar for being dope already, then if you try to come around with some, I really like you, I like you, I really like you, you're cool, you're whatever, we're like, yeah, I'm an Oscar winner. Like, of course I'm cool. We know this already. Do you have anything else to add? Are we just gonna do this? Like, what would you like to say? Is there anything else to this? Is there anything that you wish to contribute aside from right now putting my emotions and self-worth here and then inevitably as a control mechanism doing this? We don't do that anymore over here. Is there anything else I can do for you? And what you're going to start seeing after that is real effort. Real effort that if you thought to yourself, you know, no one's ever like really made a real effort for me. This is why. And now the real effort on the part of everybody else begins, and it's high time that you stop making an effort with everybody else and maintain your effort on yourself. Your glow up has to be permanent. There is no going back from this. If you have decided that you don't need anybody else to tell you who you are or what you are or where you are, that means that you need to show up for yourself every day now. It's no days off. Sorry. Being dope, being this dope, where we are right now, is a full-time job. Like he said, I don't even need to come into the office. I can do this job from home. Okay, in the extended, we're going to look at the cards. We're going to do career and money. We're going to do health and wellness. We're going to do general advice. And that you can find below. There are links for a Patreon single purchase if your country doesn't allow Patreon subscriptions. There's also a Patreon subscription link. There's also a Vimeo link. There's also a PayPal link where the video is just sent straight to your inbox. And there's a link for personal readings. I am putting together a self-esteem course that has been requested, and I'm in the midst of it now. The first video, inshallah, will drop in a few days. And you can hear more about that on Instagram, or you can comment below. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's basically this setup and me. I have it all like mapped out, so you will get a copy of that and know how, you know, see it and follow along. And then it's just 2 to 3 hour lectures each video. Okay, I love you. Let's look at these cards. Hi Cancer, welcome to your extended. All right, so this is your preview, but we're gonna get into something a little bit deep because I didn't mention it, and I think it's relevant enough to be included in the general. So one of the things that happens in August if you are married or in any type of a relationship that you have invested deep feelings into, this is going to sound weird, but I think you need to let them in on how vulnerable you feel right now. You're very strong. You're not looking outside of yourself. It's an opportune time to focus on you. So admitting your vulnerabilities, or even being able to acknowledge that you have those vulnerabilities enough to admit them to somebody else, is the challenge in August. It's hard to talk about our weaknesses and our confusions when we're feeling particularly strong. Why do we have to do it this month? We do it all the time. Why can't we just be strong this month? I don't understand. You said that we're, you know, that we're on our shit. Yeah, but I also think that the key to constructive communication is being vulnerable past what you're able to phone in. And okay, what you're able to phone in is way deeper than most people. And some would even argue that that means you've done your share of the emotional work. You know, you've carried your bit of the emotional labor. But we're not measuring against the metrics of other people. We're measuring against what you, at your best and strongest, are capable of. So what I really mean here is something that James Dean is famous for saying, and you can see very clearly in his acting. Again, I don't know if he's a Cancer, but there is a quote of his where he says that you have to be really, really, really strong to be gentle. Only the truly strong can be gentle. The weak are, in fact, quite cruel and brittle and acerbic with people. He didn't say that bit. I'm just, my Gemini ass is adding that. And I think that this is a test of that sort of mettle. Yes, you are feeling really strong, and alhamdulillah, you know, thank God for it. But is your gentility to a proportionate ratio here? Are you diving so deeply into this strength that you are actually teetering on weakness because you start to lose a little bit of your humanity? You start to feel yourself a lot. You know that moment where people are feeling themselves and then it just tips? It's like beautiful until it's disgusting. The way to not tip and to remain at that really attractive zenith of power, you know, when you get to this pinnacle of power, the way that one is able to maintain this is by displaying intense vulnerability and gentility in the face of such power. Because this is power that, yes, you have taken back for yourself. However, this is power that you took back from people. Okay? So there is a case to be made here for those people who have been living off of what you have so freely given for so long, and now that their provider has been pulled out from under their feet, they feel like they deserve some sort of an explanation. You have played mother to me all these years. If you're going to abandon me now, albeit you shouldn't have ever had to do this and the entire thing is fucked and completely unbalanced, but if you were going to do that, then at least let me know that you're leaving. Regardless of how healthy or unhealthy this dynamic is, you can't just abandon me. And this is a trap, as you know. I'm sure you've been here before. Any Cancer who had a high school boyfriend has been here before. But to this, that you can now counter with deep vulnerability. You're right. I abandoned you. You're right. I'm leaving you behind. You're right. And now you know how I felt all these years when I was abandoning myself. Make it about yourself. Emotional vulnerability is about making it about yourself. You're right. You're absolutely right. I have pulled back from something that, whether said or unsaid, I had committed to, which was the care of you. I have an issue where I feel like I need to mother adults who are not my children. And I'm grappling with this, and I'm struggling, and I'm trying to find a way just for myself to get through this without feeling like I have to carry everybody on my back. And the thing is, I realized that I put you on my back. You didn't just jump on there. I made you comfortable on my back. I made you food and made you a bed on my back. And now that my back is starting to break and I gotta throw you off, I gotta shake you off, now you want explanations. But yeah, maybe you deserve them. And the only explanation I have for you is that whatever I did for you, no matter how good or how real or how connected it felt. I did it out of a need, out of a pain, out of a trauma. And I don't want to be that person anymore. So in the meantime, you're going to have to learn to make your own bread. You're going to have to learn how to make your own bread too, shit. You're going to have to learn how to walk on your own. And as much as that feels like abandonment right now, in a little while from now, it'll make the difference between you hating me forever and holding me as dear to you forever. Because as difficult as these moments are, Cancer, you change people's lives when you choose yourself. Because when you choose yourself, you allow people the grace to live their own lives. And yes, this is a conversation we have often, but what I'm telling you is that you have a door right now to get out of your obligations that you rarely take, but if you take that door for the next month and a half, it will get you where you want to go, which is freedom. Anytime someone asks you for a justification, an explanation, be as raw and honest with them about what's going on with you as you can possibly be. Don't cry to them, don't cling to them, don't make them your therapist, just tell them the fucking truth and move along. It will shock them. Just like any cross watchers who are in awe right now are wondering, like, do they really not tell us their problems? No, we never fucking tell you anything. The only things you get to hear about are the things that are bubbling up so fast that the ocean is spilling out of our eyes. That's the only time we tell you stuff. Y'all think we tell you stuff. We don't tell you shit. But in August, in September, you will. Tell them. Tell them the fucking truth. And let them deal with it. Yes? Ooh, okay. In the extended, I haven't figured out what to call it. The real extended, that sounds derogatory to this part. You know, in the rest of this reading, that will be up in a few minutes, we'll go into, we haven't even touched on money yet, or health and wellness. So we'll do both of those. Okay, all right, I love you. See you in a minute. Oh, sorry.